Hey guys, it's Mel. Welcome to my channel. This is my November to be read video. Last month I made my first to be read for BookTube and I put 8 books on that video. I successfully read 7 books, so I think that I should keep it around that number. Of course it depends on the thickness of the book and also what else is going on in my life in general as to how many books I'll end up reading, but I'm going to keep it to roughly that amount just to see how I go. So without further ado, the first book on my to be read list is Chocolat by Joanne Harris. Anyone that has watched my top 5 things video will know that Joanne Harris is one of my authors that I can always go back to and know that I'll enjoy. Chocolat is my favourite book of hers. I have read it a few times, but it is in my to be read for November because it is my book club's book to read this month. We're actually meeting in a couple of days time, so this video will air either Saturday or Sunday and we are meeting on Saturday, so I really need to get reading this book. I've got a couple of days to read it. I figure that because I've read it before, I probably will not find that too difficult, so I can sort of skim through it a little bit. I actually do want to read this for our book club because it's a book club with a little bit of a twist. So we actually read books that someone has adapted into a movie and then we watch a movie adaptation of the book. So yeah, Chocolat is one that was chosen, so I'm going to reread that. The next 4 books on my to be read for November are actually library books, so they really need to be on my to be read for this month because I have to return them to the library. A couple of them I've actually had out from the library for about a month now, so I've had to renew them, so I really need to get to them. So the first one is The Edible Woman by Margaret Atwood. This is actually already on a different to be read list of mine, so if anyone's watched my grade 5-6 readathon, I will link that video in the description below. This meets one of the challenges that I created for that readathon that I'm doing with my grade 5-6 class for this term, but I've put it on this to be read list as well because like I said, it's from the library. I've already renewed it and I really need to read it so I can return it to the library, so I feel like maybe if I put it on my to be read list for the month I might actually get to it. Let's see how we go. This next one is Songs of the Humpback Whale by Jodi Picoult. This is another book that I borrowed from the library a while ago and I haven't quite got around to reading it because you know how that goes, you get other things and you get excited by the things, but I do like Jodi Picoult. I actually chose this book specifically because I was really interested in the reading rush. Although I didn't participate in that particular readathon, I really liked a lot of the challenges, and one of the challenges was to read an author's first book, and I quite like Jodi Picoult, so I looked into what her first book was and this is it. So the same as The Edible Woman, it is on my November to be read because I haven't read it yet and I really need to so I can return it to the library. Hopefully it being on a to be read will make me get around to it. This next book is The Five by Hallie Rubenhold. It is It's actually historical sort of autobiographies about 5 women who were killed by Jack the Ripper. I heard about this book when I was watching one of Jean from Bookish Thoughts BookTube videos. It was in one of her monthly wrap-ups. I actually don't recall which month, so I'm going to link her channel in the description below. But I thought it sounded really interesting, and like much of history, I think that what has been recorded and what we've been taught isn't necessarily the whole story, so I'll be interested to read this. I'm not sure how quickly I'll get through this because I do tend not to read non-fiction particularly fast, but we'll see how we go. The next book in my to be read list is Cersei by Madeline Miller. I have heard a bit of mixed reviews about this one. Quite a lot of people, including Jean from Bookish Thought, really seem to enjoy it, but then again some others don't enjoy it as much. Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Read is another booktuber that I really like, and it didn't seem like she was that into it. I will link both Jean and Chelsea's channels below as well, but it sounds like the perfect book for me. I really love retellings of classical stories or classical myths. I studied Greek mythology and literature at university, so I'm really intrigued to read this. I also listened to an episode of the podcast Freedom, Books, Flowers and the Moon a while ago where they interviewed Madeline Miller, and she seemed like a really interesting person, and yeah, the book just sounds really, really amazing. So I'm really excited to read this. It's probably my most anticipated read on this to be read list. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I do want to finish the book I'm currently reading, which is Interview with the Vampire, but I think this is probably going to be the next book that I read. And also, just look at this cover. It's absolutely beautiful. I borrowed this book from the library, but I really think, depending on what I think of it, I really think it's probably going to be a book that I'm going to purchase. So we'll see how we go. The next book is What Alice Forgot by Liane Moriarty. I bought this recently when I was browsing in a bookstore, and like I said again in my top 5 videos, Liane Moriarty is an author that I know that if I see, I will enjoy a book of hers. So I grabbed this. I don't know a huge amount about it, but it sounds like it will be a really interesting read, so I'm looking forward to reading that. This last book, it looks very thick, but it's actually 2 books in the one volume. I'm not 100% sure whether I'll read both this month or not. It depends on how quickly I get through it and whether I'm enjoying it or not, but it is The Power of One and Tandia by Bryce Courtney. So just like I did last month, I have put this in as a reread. So recently I went through and did a bit of an unhaul of some books which I haven't technically actually gotten rid of yet. I'll explain why when I do my unhaul video, which I am still planning on doing. But there were a few in there that I used to really love. I really wanted to reread them now, since it's been probably about 20 years or more even since I read these books. I thought it might be a good idea to see what I think of them now. So yeah, The Power of One I'm definitely going to read. I'm not sure about Tandia, but we will see again how we go. So that was my to be read for the month of November. If you've read any of these books, please comment and let me know what you think of them. Also, I'd love to hear what you're going to read for the month of November. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and please consider subscribing to my channel. I will see you next time.